Hi, this is Corey Hoffman, and today I am here with Amy Nally, and we are going to do the Registered Student Org training through the Office of Student Involvement.
Hi, this is Amy Nally, and thank you for joining us today.
So, first of all, why are we here and why are we doing this? We're going to talk a little bit why this training is necessary and what the purpose is for having these trainings or this training in particular. So really there's three main areas that we see that there are consistent issues or problems that come up for our student organizations. And in order for us to get out in front of that and prevent these from becoming recurring issues, we felt that this training would be appropriate to help exec board leaders of organizations and advisors become more familiar with expectations and policies to help them be more successful and help us be successful as well. So one of the first areas that we see some issues is just with general consistent issues and concerns that come up. So some of the things that we see is a cycle of poor communication, and that happens for a lot of different reasons. For us as the Office of Student Involvement, we frequently contact exec board members and advisors, and that's based on the information that's listed in Bearcat Link. And as you can see on that second bullet, a lot of times we see there's outdated rosters. And so when we're trying to contact the individuals listed on the roster and they're no longer in those positions, it creates poor communication. So that's why we're asking that organizations constantly update their rosters and make sure, especially their advisor and their exec board, are updated correctly. Additionally, we see issues at times with student leaders not knowing who the advisor for their organization is. The advisor not knowing who the student leaders are for the organizations they advise, or sometimes advisors not knowing which orgs they advise. And so for all those reasons, we felt this was important. Additionally, re-registration is vital. Re-registration is something that every student organization is required to do at the beginning for every academic year. It's very similar to verifying for your courses. We want you to verify that you are actively operating as an organization. So that's why it's vital that student organizations re-register every year. And then also financial issues. A lot of organizations deal with financial issues or improperly tracking their expenses and funds. And so having a better idea of how the financial operations work on our campus would be beneficial to many of our student organizations. Second of all, transitioning exec officers. We know that in the transitioning of exec officers, a lot of times there's important information that's lost and not transferred. And so our office is willing to assist with those transitions. And we also have specific checklists that will help organizations when they make those transitions. And then finally, our Student Senate bylaws. Student Senate is the body who recognizes all of our student organizations, and therefore all student organizations must abide by all the bylaws issued by Student Senate. One of those guidelines and part of their bylaws is that exec boards and advisors must complete this training on a yearly basis.
So it's a standard. Consistent training is common and effective practice among higher ed institutions. What we did is we looked at the issues and the inconsistencies within the organizations. We did some benchmarking and realized that most schools required trainings and even multiple required trainings for their officers and advisors. And this provides them to have some consistency within their organization and to be able to move forward and attain their goals within their organization. So today, this training will be at a high level. We'll offer more detailed information, which is provided in the online advisor training module in Canvas, as well as in our student org handbook. The importance of training is to ensure that the new officers understand their roles and their position, and that they're provided with the information of how the organization is doing. So the goals, the struggles the organizations may be having, where they're headed, what didn't get done. These are really important factors that the new officers should understand and realize before they step into that full-time position of spearheading the organization. And so for the advisors, they are there to help support those new incoming presidents and exec board members as well as to provide them with knowledge and guidance and to assist them with the re-registration and renewal requirements that are important to the organization to be successful. The advisor is also the university liaison to the student, to the graduate student, the OSI staff, the alumni, the community, and also non-university employees. Overall, the part of the advisor is to help the organization and the student leaders be successful.
So some of our training topics, not only should the advisor be knowledgeable on university policies and processes, but so should our student org leaders. Typically, our advisors are in their roles consistently on a year-to-year basis, whereas the exec board transitions every year. So we're going to cover some policies, processes, and things of that nature that all exec board and advisors should be aware of. First of all is our posting policy. This applies to not just our student organizations, but really to all departments on campus. We have a posting policy that states that there must be approval before any flyers or posters can be posted on university bulletin boards. All these policies can be found in the student org handbook, which you can see a link down there at the bottom of this page on the OSI website. You can do this currently through Bearcat Link. You can submit a poster or a flyer or through email to osi@nwmissouri.edu, and we will give you the stamp and approval, and then you are free to post it on the appropriate boards. Chalking is very similar to our posting policy. All organizations have the opportunity to chalk on campus, but they must register where they're going to be doing that before they begin the chalking process. Once their application has been approved, they will be given certain areas and locations on campus where they can do the chalking, and they're also required to clean the chalking up after their chalking period is over. For movies, many students and individuals on campus may not be aware, but there are do's and don'ts with showing movies. Many movies have copyrights that prevent you from just openly showing those on campus or to large groups. You have to purchase specific rights in order to do that. Our office can assist you with that. We have vendors and contacts where you can purchase the rental of those movies so that you can show them to open groups. If you have any questions or concerns about that, please contact our office and we can help guide you through that. Dead week policy is the policy of our office that every organization will cease all activities and events at 11:59 p.m. on the Friday prior to finals week. We do that so that organizations are not focusing on events and activities during finals week and the weekend before finals, rather they're focusing on their studies and preparing for finals. Early closing, we have set an early closing policy on our campus that states that if the university is closed or if we close early due to weather or other related issues, that all organizational activities and events should also be canceled for that remaining period of the day. At no point in time does that prevent organizations from canceling events if they feel like they need to cancel those because of weather or other issues that are ongoing. So for example, if the university does not close because of bad weather, but you feel like the weather is too bad to host an event, the organization always holds the right to cancel that event on their own. There are other student life policies that apply to all students and student organizations, and many of those can be found in the Student Org Handbook. And the full policies for all these are in our Student Org Handbook as well. If you have any questions regarding any of these policies, please contact Amy, myself, or the OSI front desk, and we'll always be happy to help you with these processes and policies.
Exec board transitions. Why are they so important? It helps them to continue the legacy of the group. It builds confidence for the new exec board members coming into their roles. It decreases the confusion and the lack of or loss of information that oftentimes happens in the transition from one exec board to another. And it just helps maintain the momentum and the accomplishment of the organization moving forward. During transitions, new officers will be able to learn from the experience of the outgoing officers and offer continuity and continued growth for the organization. This is one of the main pieces we've identified as the missing link for new officers coming in is not being properly transitioned from position to position. So we have put together an advisor an advisor manual, as well as an officer manual that really just details their roles and resources that are available to them, as well as other pertinent information. We provided you with a transition checklist, so the incoming officers have their checklist that they will follow, as well as the outgoing officers, just to ensure that all the information is carried over into the new role of the new officer. And then we will provide you with training dates. These training dates will be April, August, September, and December, and those will be for transitions for positions, as well as for advisors. And then we'll also be able to assist you with the re-registration process and the roster updates when we implement the new system.
So many organizations host events. So this is going to cover just a little bit of event training and event planning. For those of you who don't know, Astra is the software that we use on campus to schedule rooms and reserve rooms. The website is listed there for you if you're not familiar with that website or the system. Just some general event planning guidelines. Always check the university calendar before planning an event. We see frequently that student organizations will host an event, but not check the calendar, and there may be other events that are taking place at that same time, which prevents them from having a successful event because students and other possible attendees are split among which event to attend. With that in mind, it's also important that you add your event to the university calendar once you have selected a date and finalize that so that other organizations can see when you are hosting your event. If you have any questions about how to use Astra or scheduling a room, you can contact Mark Hendricks in Student Affairs, or you can contact the student manager as well, who's located in the Student Engagement Center. Per our contract with Aramark, any food that is served on campus for meetings, events, things of that nature must be served or catered through Aramark. Heidi Marinville is the contact in Aramark, and their Aramark's offices are located across the hallway from the Student Engagement Center next to the bookstore. Some student organizations may not be familiar with this, or even some advisors, but student organizations can host events on campus with alcohol. It requires a specific form that must be filled out with specific approvals that are required. Again, Aramark would be the vendor to serve alcohol in those situations. We encourage you, before you look at serving alcohol at an event, to review the risk management policy in the student org handbook, not only just for alcoholic events, but any type of event that may be deemed high risk. This is not to prevent you from having the event, it's to make sure you're taking all proper precautions to mitigate any potential risk associated with the activities. UPD is a great resource for student organizations when they're hosting events, and if they're hosting an alcoholic event, UPD must be included. They will serve as security for that event. Depending on the nature of your event, UPD may choose to also be there voluntarily to serve as security, again, in those high-risk situations or high-risk events. You may want to consider insurance for all university offices. Certain events, we must carry insurance. As recognized student organizations, we highly encourage you to carry insurance for certain high-risk events, and we can assist you with obtaining that insurance if that is something you choose to do. And obviously, to make sure your event is successful, it's important to promote and market the event successfully. We've talked about the promotions and flyers and posting policy and chalking guidelines, but also using social media is important as well. And we can help you and assist you with that also. It's important to make sure that you work with university marketing and communications whenever you're doing any promotions and marketing, because they can get your message out to a larger number of people and increase the likelihood of your event being successful. Some advisor and officer resources. We have a lot of resources available to all advisors and to officers. For advisors specifically, there's a Canvas module. After an advisor has completed this training that we're doing right now, they will only have to review and complete the Canvas module training, which is basically an update of all changes or updates to policies over the past academic year. For the advisor and officer transition manual, again, there's a lot of resources available to you as well. Specifically the advisor's role and how the advisor can assist student organizations. The advisor module in Canvas has a significant amount of information regarding an advisor's role in assisting student organization. And then also the officers' roles and resources, specifically the transitions that we talked about that Amy mentioned previously, are beneficial as well. As a reminder, all officers every year must complete this training. So every year there's an election taking place for your organization, those new officers must complete this training each year. And then finally, the Student Organization Handbook. All of our policies, processes, information for student organizations, contact information for different departments on campus, and a variety of other information is all found within the Student Organization Handbook, and that can be found online at all times on the OSI website. For those of you that need additional resources and support, you can contact the OSI front desk. They can assist you with a number of issues that you may be facing. We also have Lead Green mentors through the OSI, which are peers, students who can assist in navigating some of those common issues that student organizations face. Some of the other resources that are available specifically through Student Senate. Student Senate, as we said before, recognizes all student organizations, and so they're there to support student organizations as well. There's an application on their website for appropriations. All student organizations are eligible for up to $1,500 per year in appropriations or funding. Additionally, you may need support but not need funding. So you may need volunteers or just helping getting the word out about your event. Student Senate is willing to co-sponsor a number of events. So you can fill out a co-sponsorship application and they can assist with co-sponsoring your event. All students, regardless of whether they're in a student organization or not, can be associate members of Student Senate. The voting members of Student Senate are elected by their peers, but anybody can become an associate member and hold a non-voting position on Student Senate. And then finally, if there's a leadership change or there's any type of name change for your organization, there's a form to complete so that Student Senate can approve that name change per their bylaws.
Moving forward, we'll be implementing a new system, identifying some key dates and resources that are available to you. We know that there have been some issues with Bearcat Link being user-friendly and also housing correct data. So we'll be implementing a new system in the fall provided by the company Presence, but we'll still be referring to it as Bearcat Link. There will be trainings available for Presence in the fall for faculty, students, and staff, and we will provide you with those dates in the near future. I want to mention that these trainings are not mandatory, but they will be useful in navigating the new system and also help you to advise your new exec board members on how to navigate the system and use the system properly. Registration will open on April 1st of every year. We'll be sending out notifications to all organizational presidents and advisors in April, and again in the fall, in the beginning of the school year, we'll remind you again that re-registration is open for organizations. We'll be offering trainings again for new leaders and new advisors that did not complete their training in April. The returning advisors will review updates on the online advisor module in Canvas, and we will be sending out those notifications to alert you of what's been updated and that it's okay to go in and review them. October 1st is the re-registration deadline. If organizations do not re-register by this date, they do risk losing their recognition and will be required to go through the recognition process again, as well as their account on Bearcat Link will be frozen, so they would no longer have access to that.
So some financial resources Obviously, finances play a large part in the success of an organization, and so we're going to touch on those just a little bit. Most of what we will discuss here applies to those organizations, those student organizations who bank on campus only. So just some terms for you to know and be aware of. A FOP is a university fund. So if you bank on campus, your organization is assigned a FOP number that connects your funds to your organization. Allison Kemper is the contact for any FOP information if you need to obtain a FOP, or if you're unsure what your FOP number is. An account balance, you can inquire as to your account balance through Tasha Quimby. Advisors, you should have access to the account balance through WebFocus. If you're unsure how to do that or how to access that, you can work with the Office of Student Involvement or through Tasha, and we can work to make sure that you get access to that so you can help advise your organization on their account balances. Tasha is also the contact for journal vouchers, and we'll touch on what journal vouchers are here in just a second. Then finally, direct pay vouchers. Keisha Holtman is the contact for direct pay vouchers. And again, we will touch on what direct pay vouchers are here in just a moment.
Go ahead.
For the financial process on the controller's website, we talked about the FOP. It's used to create an account for an organization. The request form can be turned into Allison Kemper. For direct pay voucher, this is used to pay vendors or people outside of the organization or outside of the university. So if you were to purchase something from an outside vendor who's not located on campus and you needed to pay them, you would submit a direct pay voucher, and then cashiering or the finance office would write a check and send it to that vendor and debit your account for whatever that amount may be in order to pay the vendor for whatever goods that you purchased. You can also use the direct pay voucher for withdrawal of cash, and we will show you on the next slide how you can go about withdrawing cash using direct pay voucher.
So the direct pay voucher for withdrawal of cash is a request that you put through to the cashiering office. It is a $250 limit. The $250 cash withdrawal is referenced in a direct example on the right side of this screen. And if you fill out the direct pay voucher exactly with the student name, the student organization, the vault teller, and then the cash withdrawal with the student name who is requesting this, as well as the name of the student organization, and then just the general information below, exactly as it appears on this example, this will allow you to withdraw up to the $250 in cash. It does require 3 signatures. The person on the exec board that's requesting the funds would be 1 signature. The second exec board member could be anyone on the exec board. If it's not the president, it could be the treasurer or anyone else that would be on the exec board itself. And then as well as the advisor, they are the 3rd signature, and you must have their signature in order to be able to submit this to cashiering. The journal voucher, as Corey mentioned, is to transfer dollars from one account to another. And the purchase requisition is found on the purchasing site. It has a detailed video that will give you information on exactly how to fill out the requisition and how to submit it. If you have any questions in regards to this, you can contact anyone in purchasing and they will be able to assist you. And then the purchase requisition is used to pay contract vendors that the university works with. Your deposit slips are found on the controller's website as well, or you can pick them up in the cashiering office. They do require that the organization put their 919 number on there, as well as their FOP number or account number in order to deposit their funds within the account. This concludes our session for today. We would like to remind you that this training was at a high level. and that we will provide access to the Canvas advisor training module as well as other resources we have mentioned during our training in the near future for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time and have a great day.